8-year-old Warner squints through the darkness, searching for a familiar face in the sea of strangers. His new friend Jonathan lays on the ground at his feet, softly moaning in a sparse scattering of putrid straw, too weak to even raise his head. The steerage compartment is cold and damp, with dozens of scrimmaging rats. An elderly man to their left suddenly loses his balance, crashing into Warner's shoulder and knocking him into a wooden beam. As turbulent waves violently pitch the immigrant ship forward, hundreds of terrified passengers, packed like livestock down in the belly of the vessel, are tossed from right to left as 50-foot waves incessantly tip the boat 45 degrees starboard, then port. In a desperate attempt to withstand the tempestuous storm, crew members have battened down the hatches. 3 days prior, leaving over 100 indentured servants without sunlight, toilet facilities, or food for more than 72 hours. So far, only 3 weeks into an estimated 9-week voyage. What lies ahead in America? The land of freedom and opportunity? Several years of hard labor, where young Warner will essentially be considered a piece of property, like a horse. He'll watch his owner's children, who are loved, nurtured, and protected, enjoy an opulent childhood, as he, a penniless orphan, struggles to survive. Collapsing onto a pile of rags in an unheated attic, following a meager helping of leftover scraps from his proprietor's table, before rising with the sun for another exhausting day of back-breaking labor. At the mercy of their masters, indentured servants are often overworked, underfed, and whipped like animals. With no legal recourse, nobody to advocate for them, and nowhere to run. If they do, the law dictates that their contracts, binding documents, signed without their participation, be extended, potentially adding years of servitude. The man who purchases my 7th great-grandfather is named Jan Stoutenberg. At the end of his subjugation, Mr. Stoutenberg will refuse to pay the meager compensation for services rendered. We know because Warner sued him in court in November of 1662 for 200 guilders in heavy money, shirts, stockings, and shoes. Following a childhood of very hard labor. Reviewing my family tree, there seems to be a bit of mystery surrounding Warnaar's past, so I decided to contact a distant cousin, Thomas Hornback, to see if he's done any research. So I have been looking at our family tree, and we both are distant cousins from the patriarch of the Hornback family, Warnaar Hornback, or von Hornbeck or Hornbeek. There seems to be some controversy on some of the information I'm finding, including when Warner was born, where he was born, what ship he came over. Have you done any research on this?
I have, actually. I've been doing research for the last 4 years. And in doing my research, discovered that bad information and where it came from. It came from several books that were written about our family. And I discovered that those books were saying we were Dutch. And we were not Dutch. We are not Dutch at all. In fact, our name is 100% Flanders, Belgian Flanders region. So that's how I discovered Warnaar and how he got here.
Where do you think he was born, and what year, and what ship?
I think it's better than a chance. I think it's a very good chance that he was born in 1646 and he was orphaned in 1648, and he was transported over here in 1654 on a ship called, well, in I believe in French it's called pear bloom, but in English it's the pear tree. And so he was shipped from the almshouse in Amsterdam. Somehow he wound up in Amsterdam. That's why there's so much confusion at that, and the fact that he got shipped to a Dutch family in New Amsterdam. And so he learned Dutch with them. And so everybody just thought, oh, he's Dutch. He came from Amsterdam. He's Dutch. So, but that was not the case. I found out that his parents both died the same year, and he was orphaned and somehow wound up in the almshouse. From there, they looked at him as they had to make room over there for all the incoming orphans. So they had to ship out these new orphans across the ocean via the Dutch West Indies Company. And they had a contract with them, and they would send over orphans as labor. And Warnaar got sent over as an orphan and spent 5 years in servitude with a gentleman in New Amsterdam.
So you're saying that he became an orphan tragically at age 2.
Yes, and wound up in the almshouse.
And there's a lot going on, a lot of unrest in this area at this time.
Yeah. The 30 Years' War had just ended. The Reformation. There was all kinds of mass exodus and movement all over the European continent.
At age 8, is that correct? He comes over on this ship, and his relatives, because of everything happening in the region, may not have even known where he was or that this was happening.
That's correct. In fact, I believe that Warnaar had no clue about his family in Europe. I believe that he had no choice in being put on the ship. And he made the best of it. He got to a new world and made the best of it. But there's a lot of proof out there. I've looked at ships manifests from 1650 to 1662, somewhere in there. And the best manifest that fits is 1654, with a shipload of 20 orphans. And another interesting thing that's going to make this a little bit easier to track is the first Ashkenazi Jew came on the same ship. And that was a big deal. And that was all registered and noted because they had to vote on whether to let him into the colony as an Ashkenazi Jew, because he was different and things were different back then. So they had to vote. So there will be some documentation somewhere, is what I'm saying, that proves everything that I'm saying. There'll be documentation in New York that I haven't yet. I'm speaking to people there, so there'll be documentation there, and there will be documentation in Amsterdam with the almshouse. And I've researched all that and discovered who I need to speak to. So I just haven't done it.
He is the patriarch of the American Hornback, von Hornbeek family tree.
Yes. In fact, you can say that he's responsible for every Hornback in this country, with a very small exception. There is a branch of German Hornbecks that came from Germany, but their name is Hornbeck. Warnaar came in. His name was not Hornbeck. It was von Hoorenbeek, and it was spelled differently. It was spelled the Belgian Flanders way. And so it was, yes, completely different family.
What I'm saying is von Hornbeeke may even be part of this.
There's no question. No question.
You know, there is so much more that we have to chat about, but I need to keep the video short. So
absolutely. Let's
get back together later, okay?
Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much. Talk to you later.
Phyllis.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.